Hello friends, welcome to tutorial S. In this video I'm going to show you how you can create REST API using Spring Boot CRUD operation, and for database we will be using MySQL. Guys, I've already created this blog REST API where category management, post management, how you can do using this REST API I had already shown you, but in this one I'm going to create a simpler one so that anyone any beginners can understand this properly. In this one we are going to use insert, update and delete with image upload. So guys, let's start and I will show you that how we can create this. Now this is the whole process what we are going to cover. We will be using VS Code, and we expect that you have already installed Java 17 plus, and then Maven, MySQL we will be using VS Code, and all the related extensions you'll be creating. I have already video in this playlist series, so you can check that how you can install all the dependencies and all the plugins of VS Code. So guys, the main purpose in this one is to create the whole project. So the directory structure or the project structure will be like this. We will be creating controller, DTO, entity, repository and services and all these files, and using these we will be doing CRUD operation, insert, update and delete. And how it will work, let me show you. If you want to check my other videos related to this Spring Boot, then you can find here. Let me show you. You go to playlist and then just type here Spring Boot, or you can find here Spring Boot videos. Yeah, this one. You can find all the related videos inside this. So step by step from beginning I have demonstrated that how you can create Spring Boot projects, and step by step I've shown other things also. So guys, and my last video related to this Spring Boot API, you can see this one is here, and JWT authentication, etc., and blog project, this one also. So all these things are here, and now I will be showing you REST API of CRUD operation, image upload. So guys, first thing what we will do, okay, let me show you that how the whole process will work. So this is my Spring Boot project. For the time being I have started, and I will show you through Postman that how we can insert, update and delete. And now this is the Postman, and let's first check get method. Okay, and Spring Boot API users. So if you select this, then you can see the data has come successfully. There is actually only one data, that's why it is displaying you. And next one, what we will do, if we want to check only one record, so the ID is 1. If you pass 1, then it will display only 1, because since there is only 1, so that's why it is showing 1 record. Now if we want to insert, in that case just we have to change to users, and then we will have to change it to post method, and then we will have to go to body, and here is the format which we need to be passed. This one, first name. So these are the records: first name, last name, email, password and image. Remember, you might have seen a lot of tutorial where only normally what happens, these things are demonstrated there, displayed there. First name, last name, email means text based, not image. But in practical world, apart from the text, how you will upload image also, so that is required. That's why in all my tutorial I include image also. Including image and handling with this is a difficult complex as compared to normal text insertion, but you have to learn this, because in real life you will have to implement this thing. That's why I've included image also. So now let's create one more. This is already inserted here, so I'll write something else. And here I'll take another image. So let's go to here, say in my pictures folder I'll select this one. Okay, now let's try to send. So guys, you can see successfully image has been uploaded, as well as this a record has been created. If you want to check if really image got uploaded or not, I will show you. This is the upload folder, and then you can see this is the same image that we have created. So guys, you can see through Postman you can, so definitely we will be using in the front end Angular, React, and Next.js, Vue.js. Through all this front end framework I will be showing, but this is the backend what we are creating. So guys, this one is also done. Now let's the final one, let's update. Okay, and put and then you have to pass here id1, and or let's put this one only. So this is the id2, and now we will change it to it was Narendra na, so we will change it to Nina. Okay, and Sao. Rest of the things let's keep it as it is, or we can change photo also. Let's change the photo this time. This time we will be take say yeah this. Okay, now so put id we have to pass here, and then all things are here. So now send. Now you can see the data has been successfully changed. If you want to verify, go to get, and then just write here users, and then send. Now you can see two records are there, but this time the name has been changed. Now if you want to delete this, then how we can do? Just you need to select this delete, and you have to pass the id which one you want to delete. So this is the second id you want to delete. Send, and now you can see the id has been successfully deleted, and then users id delete, right? Okay, so now once again if we want to verify, let's go to here and then refresh. So send. Now you can see the record 2 has been successfully deleted. So guys, you can see this is complete REST API insert, update, and delete, which I will show you step by step that how you can create this yourself. So let's start. Now let's come back here, and then we will be following this tutorial. I have prepared this one, so step by step I will be showing you by installing a new project that how we can do this. So let's start the project. Okay, so we will start VS Code. I prefer VS Code because all my other platforms, other application, I work on this one only, so it is easier for me. So I'll create a new project, Control Shift P, and then through Spring Maven initializer I'll go here. Okay, so this one I'll select Java, and here I'll put a soft tag. We missed something. Okay, so made mistake. Let's start once again here. Control Shift P, Spring initializer with Maven, this Java here, a soft tab, press enter, and then demo. I'll name it as Spring Angular CRUD. Actually, okay, so whatever name we want, we can give it. So just I've given here the name Spring Angular CRUD. Okay, now jar file I'll select, and this one, and now I will select my latest one. So in this, actually I have selected this Spring Boot DevTools, and then Spring Web. Okay, Spring Web, this one. So two I have selected. Since I have already selected, that's why it is saying that okay, last used. I'll select this one. Now it will ask me where to put this project. So I will select my directory Java, insert this Spring Boot, and insert this, let's create here that project. Now let's click on open. I'll close it. Guys, you can see skeleton project has been successfully created, and src main Java. So all these folders are here. Now you can see this is the directory where we will be working. Now let's come back to here. Now let's come back to the project directory here once again. So basically what we need to do, this configuration security config we will create later, and I will show that why we need this, but for the time being we will start from this controller. Okay, yeah, but before that, okay, let's first create this. So here we need to, and under src we will be creating here, basically not src, it will be under this Spring CRUD. We will be creating here the file folder called, alright, so we will be creating the folder here, controller. Next folder will be DTO, this one. Let's create here DTO folder. We will explain you that why we are doing all these things. Then next will be entity, and after that there will be repository and services, and finally services. This service. Alright, so all the folders related on, and one more thing, let's create a config also. We will put the file later here. Okay, all the folders has been created. Now let's create the file name. We will put the records later. We will put the code later here, but just let's create file for the time being. So that's it, all the files have been created. Okay, now before we proceed ahead, you need to understand that why we need all these folders and files. So that is important. Okay, now let's come to here. Now if you check this diagram, then how the whole things works, let me explain you. First, this is client request is sent to the server, then the controller handles the request of the client. Controller handles the request of the client. For example, if client is asking for the list of the users, for example, let me show you with practical so that you can understand. Suppose this one, this machine is client. Okay, this machine is client. I am asking for list of the users. So this request has been sent to controller. Okay, this request has been sent to controller. This is the client and sent to controller. Now the controller, this controller, we will write here logic. controller will listen and decide that what to do. Okay, next, check this again. Now controller will send to services. It will send the request to services. Now services, with the help of repository, it will interact with the entity or DTO. Okay, actually what happens, all the logic, all the business logic is written inside services, and services uses or implements the repository interface, where all the CRUD operation functions like select all, find and by ID, delete, all the functions are provided by this repository. Okay, and then inside entity there is entity directly interacts with the database, means there is mapping of database to this entity. Okay, and this repository actually and services interact with the database not directly through entity is responsible for creating table, creating fields, and the DTO. Why we need this DTO? For example, in the entity there are first name, last name, email, and password also. Inside this entity there is you listen all these things what I'm telling you carefully, so that you can understand the whole process. This entity actually contains all the fields, first name, last name, email, and password also, but we don't want to expose the password to in the REST API, right? So what we will do, we will create a DTO, data transfer object, where I will put only the fields which is required, which is not secured. For example, password, we don't need to send password now. So what we will do, we will write here only first name, last name in email, no password is required. Okay, and image only. So this is an abstraction layer of this entity contains all the fields which is required in database, but DTO will only have the fields which is required. For example, if you want to send some gift to your friend, then what you will do, you will just pack the gift only which is required, not the whole soap. You will not send whole soap to your friend, you will only send what is required for him. Similarly, entity is a soap where all the data is there, but DTO will expose only those things which is required, not all. So guys, this is how the whole process works. Let me explain once again. Client send request, it's go to controller handles, forward the request to services, services directly interact with the database. Business logic is written inside services, and it implements this method which is already there provided. An entity is responsible for database mapping one to one, and DTO is responsible for only those things which is required. So guys, that is why we have created all those folder in our project. Alright, the next step will be to create this application.properties or applications.yml file. So any one of these we can use for database connection. We don't have to create table. Automatically our JPA will take care of that. Only just we need to create database, and the table will be created itself. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's go to our project, and then under resources you can see there is application.properties. Now let's write the code here. So what I'll do, actually I will write here, I will create here one more folder called applications.yml, because this is more formatted. Actually this will be application, not applications. There will be no S actually. Yeah. After this, let's write this code. I will explain you what all these are. This is the port number we have defined, and here is database name. So in my case, the port number is 3008. In your case, it will be 3006. In 99% cases, the port number is 3306, and then this is the database. So Spring Boot CRUD with image. Okay, let's create this database going inside the MySQL. And this is the username and password. In my case, this one is username password. So whatever username password in your case MySQL is, you will definitely provide that one. Okay, so now let's come here and I will go inside this. If you're using PHP or whatever platform or application, you can use that one. In my case, I'm using this. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just right click on this and create one new schema, create schema. So let's create database here. Okay, I've given Spring CRUD's img, short name, apply and finish. Database has been created. Same database name we will provide here. Okay, so it didn't get copied here. Okay, database name is provided here, then username and password, and this one is for driver, means this driver will be acting as bridge between Java application and MySQL. Next one is, this one is related to how much file size will be, image when will be uploading now, so there should be some limit. We are providing their limit here, and we are telling that okay, auto update will be true. SQL means table, if you don't write this, then table will not be created automatically, so you will have to write this one only, then table will be created automatically. And here the application name of course will be different, because in our case the application name is this one, Spring Angular CRUD, Spring Angular CRUD. Yeah, that's fine, the same name is. Now this one is for security purpose. If you will be, when you will run the project of Spring, then you will be asked this username and password, so you will have to provide this. That's why I'm using this. And this actually JWT token is not required here, so we can delete this. Next one is image upload directory, we can provide here. So in our case, we will give Spring CRUD REST API. The project name is, our project name is Spring Angular CRUD, na? Spring Angular CRUD. So this is our application name, folder name, so this one we will provide here. So that's it. Now this one is done, application. So this is the configuration file. Now let's come to our entity. This is the first thing which we need to define here, our table name. Okay, so let's write the code here, and I will explain you line to line why we are writing all these things. Okay, first thing is this Spring Angular CRUD is our project name and entity, that is fine, and it is saying that this Jakarta is not recognizing. Why? So you have two options basically. What you can do, if you select this, then in the left side here you can see organize import. So let's see if it automatically imports or not. If it doesn't, then we have to provide in pom.xml. Okay, we have to go to pom.xml here, and inside that we will have to write the code under dependencies here. So let's go to Maven repository website, and find here Jakarta. So we need here Jakarta persistence. You can see Jakarta persistence, right? So let's click on this and then let's select this version. Now let's copy this and then we will paste into pom.xml here. Now it says now you check, guys, all the error is gone now because the dependency has been successfully imported from here. That is why, right? So now let me explain you what is happening here. This is the class name, an entity we are writing here at the entity. That means we are telling that okay, this is entity here, so this will be basically the table, and all the table name we have defined here. So the table name will be users created automatically, and now we are defining here what will be the fields: ID, first name, last name, and this one is saying that okay, this will be ID will be primary key, okay, and this ID long data type first name last name, and it's saying that okay, the column unique will be email will be unique column, then password, and then boolean, this active inactive, so it will be active, and then profile image will be string, and date local time it will be local date time. Now once again, this is getter and setter, getter setter all has been defined here, whatever field we are taking. So I expect that you know already getter and setter, what is this and how this works. This getter and setter basically works for sending and receiving the data. This works as a gateway. So guys, you can see this model actually is directly related to database, and using the JPA interface it will handle all the requests of our database. Means automatically you will see the table will be created here. Okay, now this one is done, and I hope you understand all these things, that why we have written here. Next one will be and these are of course the packages which is required for all these things. Next one, what we will do, we will create here user DTO, so that you will understand the difference. And now guys, we will work on user DTO. Okay, so let's write here the code. Now you see the difference between this and this. This is an entity. That means what? We are telling that okay, all this column will be mapped to our database, but in this case you see the DTO, we are just defining the class and telling, exposing here all these things. So definitely in this case we will not be using password, we can remove from here. Okay, because you know, in this DTO we will not display. So what you can do, you can keep only, for example, if I don't want to keep this, if I don't want to keep this, we can remove from here. If you need all the fields, then that is fine. So that means what, you have the option to keep here selected fields only, but here you don't have option. Whatever field you have, you will have to keep all the fields here, and it interact directly with the MySQL, not this one. And here we are just creating this required fields. Okay, and this is constructor. So and this we are passing there all the parameters, and once again there is getter and setter in this one. So you can say this entity and user DTO, means DTO, are almost same, but the main difference is it doesn't directly interact with the database, point number one, and second point is we can keep only the fields which is required, not all the fields, but in this case we will have to keep all the fields. So you can see the main difference is it is more simpler, this DTO, as compared to the our entity file. Now next task will be to create here controller and then repository. So inside the controller we will just keep this first. So you can see there are few things. First thing is we are telling that REST controller, we are telling that okay, this file will be a controller, not normal class. So now we will have to call here dependencies and then request mapping. This one also just call from here. This is our endpoint. This is our endpoint. If you remember, you go to here, you can see this one we are creating here, going to create. Okay, and from this data is coming. So this is the section we are going to create here. That's why we have written here API auto add. This one also let's import, and then this one. So the question is, why do we need this auto add? That means what? We are calling this user service file, and since we have not created anything, that's why. But this file we are calling here auto add. And get mapping, this one it will map. This one is for request method, and response entity, of course. This one also will have to call. And now user DTO, which we have just created now that, so that one, this user DTO, and list is also required. So Java util list, and then this is the user defined function, and user DTO we will have to call. So why it's not coming here, user DTO? Yeah, so import user DTO, this one, this file. So now this error is also gone. And now inside service, this function we will and you see here response entity, then the data will return as a list using this DTO file. Means from DTO file it will take and create a list, and the function name is get all users. And here once again we are storing the data as a user DTO, taking from service file. So now the next task will be to create here, and of course let's close the class here. We are getting this error because we need to create here user service. So now let's come back to here user service and create. So inside our user service we will create this function, this one. Now here we need to call here user repository, but we have not created a repository file. Now we have to create that one also, this user repository. So you can see one file is related to another file, so we need to create here user repository. Let's go to user repository and write. This is a very small file. So basically it will be like this, user repository, and then you can see user repository extends JPA repository. This is an interface which we are calling here, extend, and this user is of course our model name. So now it's gone. So what we are doing actually here, find by email, why we are writing here, because you know this is a unique field. And now you can see there is no any function like save all, get all, but hiddenly it provides all the fields. Hiddenly it has. Now let's come back to here. We need to call this user repository here, okay, as a dependency. So the name is user repository, right? Okay, here we need to call. We have to call here auto add user service, this one, user repository, and inside user repository it says that there should be function. So basically we will have to call the dependency here, this one. And one more thing we have missed here, actually there will be @service, because this is a service file na? And it is saying that it is not recognized. Why? Because in pom.xml we will have to import our dependency just like this. So before declaring dependency, here we need to write this. Here you can see Spring Boot starter Data JPA. So database interaction we need, and for this service, that's why we have to import this. Now let's come back to here, and then now the error should go. Yeah, you can see the error is gone now. And one more thing we need here in our pom.xml actually for database MySQL, this one MySQL J connector we need. Why it says is missing. Okay, so actually let's find the latest one, MySQL J connector. Let's remove this. So from here directly we will import from Maven repository. So guys, we have written this, and you can see this error is still there. Okay, inside the repository one important package we didn't import, and that is JPA repository, this one, because we are implementing this JPA, so it was not imported anywhere, that's why. Now let's come back here, and now guys you can see the error is successfully gone. Now let's remove this, it's not required for the time being. And this user entity we will actually require this later, but for the time being it's removed. So we have done so far our user service and this user service and JPA repository. What is? Let's delete this one, it's not required actually. We have user service, user repository is very small code, you can see. User service, for the time being we have just written this get all service, and then user we have already done this one is also done. User controller is also done. For the time being we have just written this get all user. We will create for other also, like single, deleting, updating, inserting, all that later, but first we have to, for security, this one I've just left it blank so that you can see why we need this. Now the time is to run the project. So let's go here and terminal MVN Spring Boot run. Okay, so there is some error, that's why it got terminated. Let's see the error, what is it? It says authentication failed. What authentication? Unique email. Let's find here cause. Caused by method with signature get signature, but I can possibility interaction. So the problem is somewhere in dependency, Jakarta persistence. Do we already have this? So basically what happens, we have imported here, so let's delete this and let's import this one only. What happens if we put this, then directly this JPA decides that what version it requires. We don't need to mention here the version. Okay, so that is the reason it is showing the error. Now let's come back here and try to run it again. Okay, there is another error. It says port number, this is already running, so I think somewhere I am using this. Let me check here. This port number is already in use, it is saying, so I just cut that one, and now let's try to run this again. Okay, looks like now it's fine. So go to the browser and try to open here. Guys, now it's working. Since there is no data, that's why it is displaying like this. What I'll do, let's go to our database, Spring CRUD's img. Refresh it. Spring CRUD's img. Where is this? Spring. This one. Table. This is our user table. Now manually let's put one data. Okay, now let's try to apply. Oh, value, there is something wrong. I think we missed date, no, that's why. Okay, let's try to skip this image and save. Still getting. Okay, just I inserted with SQL query this one, and now you can see it is successfully displaying here. Okay, now let's see into the browser or Postman as also. Get and then users send. Guys, you can see successfully the data is displaying here. So that means what? Our fetch method is successfully running, all data is displaying. So what was the mistake? Let me show you. This Spring JPA na, we were writing there, you don't need to mention the version, it will automatically decide which version is suitable for it, and automatically it will call. Let's delete this one. Oh, there is. Okay, so now in the next chapter we will see how we can get single record, how we can get other things also. Okay, so now that our get function is done, now what we will do, what if we want to fetch a single record, because from this one you are getting all the records. If we want to fetch the single record, so that means what, we have to pass ID, and based on the ID the record will be fetched. So now let's work on that. First we need to write the code here inside service. Okay, so here we need to write the code, and that will be based on ID as I told you. So what is this? Basically this one is this user needs to be called here, and then what we are doing here, we are passing here ID. right? And based on that id, user repository dot spring find id. So based on the id, it will fetch the data and ultimately it will return as user dto. And so inside the user dto you can see what we are getting: id, first name, last name, email, and password, as well as image, and this profile, which active, inactive, right? Now, so the service is done. Service is related to directly to controller. Now inside the controller we will write here get mapping here as well. So this is the code that we need to write here, and see get mapping, that id we are passing here, and once again here public response entity, then user dto get user by id. That means what? The user from user table, based on the id, the data will be fetched from user service, and finally the data will be stored in this user and it will be returned as JSON response. So now let's try after this whether the id is working or not. So we will check. So this one is for complete record, right? But if we pass here id, for example 2, then what will happen? It says white label. If I pass here 1, then you can see the data is coming here, right? The data is coming here because the id is matching. Apart from that, if you put here anything else, then it will show you this error. If you want, we can write here custom code as well, that if id is not found, then show the custom error rather than showing that live white label. So for that, in the service you will have to write here optional. You have to call it okay. So basically what we will have to do, we have to write this one inside try and catch. Okay, what is happening here inside this try, it is as it is before, means if id is found, then it will return the data, or else catch section, a runtime exception. So it will be map java util, then string and object hash map. It will create a hash map here. It will show status, error message, and timestamp finally. And this one, is there any data missing here? Response entity. So here basically will be question mark, that means optional. And then now if you try, now let's try to check. If it is 1, then fine, but if I put here something, say any id, now you can see it will display error like the user not found message, status, this one 404, and this is time. Okay, so that means what we can display here, if user is not found, so something like this else part, catch part. Okay, so if you don't need that much thing, then it's okay, just you can show this status and all that 404, or simply you can show here user not found, that's it, user not found, this one. So these two will be sufficient. Let's try here, simply user not found, status 404, that's it. So guys, this is more user friendly, right? The next one is to delete the data, and finally we will work on create, and because deleting and displaying this is easier one, that's why. So we will work on delete data. After working on delete data, we will work on create, means adding a new one. So first we need to write inside the code just like this, inside our service, right? So what delete user long id, just like this, you can see get user by id. Similarly we are writing here delete long id, and then from repository find by id, all else throw error, runtime error, and ultimately it will user repository then delete user. So finally this will be deleted. The logic, you can see the logic is being written inside user service. Now we need to write the code for delete here also in the controller. So let's write the code for delete here also. Similarly, if you want to make it like, if user not found, then try catch we can put here also, in this one also. Here this try, and then try block close, then catch. Same point we can write here also, this catch section, inside catch section. And here once again, rather than this, we will write here question mark. So why question mark? Because it will be optional. id can be, id cannot be, that's why. And since this is delete method, so it's not possible to delete from here. It's not possible to delete from here. For example, delete method is not possible. This is get method. For that we will have to go post main, and then we need to write here delete, and then id we will have to pass. For example, if I put here another id which it doesn't exist, in that case what will happen? So this is basically localhost 800 API, then user send 60. I'm putting here wrong id. Okay, it says user not found because this id does not exist. If I put here id number 1 and then try, then yeah, the success. So if once again if I check here get and then users, you will see there is no any record. Yes, it's gone. So guys, so far successfully we have created all users, then single user, then delete. Now the time is to create. That is a bit complicated because you have to creating anything, it takes more time, na? Deleting it takes very less time. So now let's work on create. So first once again we will have to work on user service here for adding the record. Let's write the code here. Okay, first thing is we are writing here transactional. The question is, why do we need this transactional? Transactional is normally used when normally what happens if you are trying to add something and first name last name only got inserted, and because of some reason rest of the things didn't got performed perfectly. In that case what will happen? Half of the data will get inserted. So transactional, that means that it will be completed or else it will be rolled back. Normally what happens when you try to install something, and if some error happens, then you will see that okay, installation is rolling back, right? So it is like that. That's why here we are writing here transactional. So transactional normally is used at the time of save, delete, update, but for get it's not required. And now this upload dir, we need to define here upload dir, this directory path, and the path of course. So we need to call here the path java import java path. Okay, and for this upload dir actually we have to define here somewhere. So let's write that upload dir folder. If you remember, in our application.yml file here under resources we had written here upload dir path, right? this is our physical path we have mentioned in the beginning of this tutorial. Now so this is the time to use this one. What we will do, let's call here that directory path. So before that we will write here, so we are basically calling our directory, and finally this upload dir we are declaring here. Okay, and now you can see the error is gone for particularly that one, upload dir. What is it? Type is cannot convert from Java, so there is path mistake, I think. Okay, let's paste here upload dir once again. And then for this path we need to import java.io .file, and the other things is so this package needs to be called actually. Now it's gone, so you can see. Okay, let's understand that what is happening here actually. This is save user and then model name MultipartFile, because we are uploading the image, that is why we need to write this multipart form data, as you know. And now you are checking if image is not null. In that case it will take original name and it will add here current timestamp, and finally file name will be stored here, and this one is for get upload dir file name complete path means. And now create directories. If directory is not already created, then automatically it will create upload directory, and then file will be transferred to there. And then finally user dot set profile file name, and all the data, the complete data will be saved here, and it will return all the first name, last name, whatever is. Now again we need to work here. Repository is not required. Let's work here once again. Similarly we will have to write the code for controller also. In the controller section we need to write this code. So what is here, you can see responsibility user DTO create user, all values we are taking, first name, last name, email, all that, and we are getting the value of image separately because the file type type is multipart. That is why, because image type is always multipart, na? So these are all of one type and this is of another type, guys. That is why normally CRUD operation doing with image is a bit difficult as compared to without image. But in all my tutorial you will see that I always use image. Why? Because this is used in practical world. That's why, because without image uploading it's just like plain. Okay, so now let's call this model is our model name, na? And finally all the things will be saved here and response will be returned. So this is the code to save the data, which we are preparing here all the things, first name, last name, email, set password. Okay, and so that's it. All the records we are create user entity, these things. Alright, and finally it will be saved along with image. So now let's try to add one record. Okay, because last time we had added through direct query. This time we will be uploading the data from this one. So guys, here it will be post, and then you will have to select body. It's already actually selected, and then form data, body, and then form data, then first name, last name, email, all the text. Only thing you will have to change here, that is file in the image. And let's see what image we are uploading here. I'll select some other file. So let's go here and I will select this image. Okay, now send using post. Yeah, so guys, you can see successfully one record has been created. If you want to check if really got created or not, get and refresh, then you can see the record has been successfully created. So this way, now if you check here, going inside the upload folder, we have upload folder here na. Go to here, inside uploads, you can see this image has been successfully uploaded. This is the same image na we had uploaded here, so that's why. So now guys, you can see this upload is successfully working, means we are able to add the record successfully here. So it's very easy. You can see what we are doing. We are passing a user DTO and create user, and all the records and image also including all, and finally we are saving, right? We are saving actually here, set password and all that, and we are saving we along with the image. Okay, now the next will be for updating the record. So for that one, once again we will have to come here and write the code. And remember one thing, this update will be combination of this single user and then this save user. Why? Because update will be made as per the user ID, right? So now let's come back here, and then in user service we will add here for update code. For update user, let's go here, and then user service. As I told you, this is combination of single record and add. So the function is update. Here you can see we have to pass ID, and based on the ID it will be updated. And this is our model name, multipart file image. We have already used in this one also, right? So the only difference you can see, ID is we are passing ID also in this one. Now it will fetch from user repository ID, and finally the ID will be here, and based on the record will be fetched. So one by one what we are doing, existing user, then first name, last name, email, all the records will be fetched, right? Now this one is for image, just like that, and this is upload dir, means image path. And once again, if there is no directory, then it will create, or else finally it will upload the file. Okay, once file is uploaded, then what it will do, here it will set the file name, and finally this active or inactive user, this one. And now including of all means it contains all things na, image, name, first name, last name. So all everything will be saved, means updated, and after that it will return here the JSON data that okay, this records has been updated. Next we need to write the code here also, means our endpoint. This time the method name will be put. In previous one you can see it was post, and here will be for updating we need put, and in post case we didn't pass anything, it is simple, but here we are passing ID also, right? Next update user, this ID, first name, last name, email, password and image, all things we are fetching, gathering, just like adding. And now we are creating here one means we are creating the object of our model, and one by one we are saving the data here. Finally along with the image the data is updated, and it will return the JSON response. So guys, all is finished. Now the time is to test this update as well. Now what we need to do, we need to put here put, and then slash, this is the ID 2 na, we need to pass here ID number 2, and this time we have written here Nina Saw. So let's change the name, Rahul Kumar. Okay, now let's send image, let's keep the image same, send. Guys, you can see the record has been updated successfully. If you want to check, then you can see, oh, it will be here, users. So guys, you can see the record is successfully being updated. So what you have learned here, you have learned here that how in this one, this is our endpoint. After this, based on ID, we will fetch single record. In this one, it will fetch all the records. This one, it will delete the record. This one is for posting new record. This one is for updating the record. So guys, this way, sometimes, remember, sometimes you may get error while updating the record, adding the record from Postman, or sometimes from Angular, React, or whatever. In case that happens, then here in security config you will have to write some code. So let me show you that one also, in case you get error, or else it is okay, because in this case you just notice that there was no error while adding, updating, anything. But sometimes it can happen if, because Java is very secure, so sometimes it catches the security. If that happens, then you need to update this code. Let me show you. First thing that you need to write here, you will write here configuration. That means what? You will say that okay, this is a configuration file, and you have to import here, of course. After this, we will write here code. We will write here filter chain method. What we are doing? Public security chain. So we have to import this one, and for this we will have to also write in pom.xml this security. So let's open pom.xml and let's add here one dependency. So inside dependency we will have to write here this one. Here you can see org.springframework.boot and then boot starters security. Now you can see this error is gone, and this HTTP security we have to call here from Spring Framework. So now the error is gone. So what we are doing basically here, CRF disable. This CSRF, we are disabling here CSRF, as well as what we are doing here, we are telling that okay, if the URL starts from API, then permit all. Okay, if it starts from API, then permit all. Apart from that, if you want to apply the security, then apply on other, but don't apply security on this one. Okay, so that is the idea. If you get error, in that case, this is the solution. Okay, so looks like our server has stopped working. So now let's check here. There is some error, that's why. So what is the error? Application failed. Caused by security config annotation, web configuration. So now you can see here it's accessible. That means what? Our Spring security is also working perfectly. So guys, this way you can use this complete REST API. You can learn how to create complete REST API using image upload. Sorry. And guys, in the next video I will show you that how we can use this one for front-end application, front-end libraries like Angular, React, Next.js and Vue.js as well. So guys, if you are new in my channel, then I strongly recommend you to please subscribe the channel and also press the like button. And if you have any queries and questions, don't forget to ask you. See you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.